For British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the affair about banned lockdown parties in Downing Street, the seat of government, is becoming, let's say, tricky again. In his first appearance since receiving a police warrant for attending an illegal gathering, he expressed remorse. But he may face an investigation into whether he lied to Parliament about the matter. Deliberate deception of Parliament is considered a clear reason for resignation. "I felt the pain and anger immediately," Johnson said on Tuesday about the penalty order. The British people deserve better from their Prime Minister. He paid the fine and apologized profusely. However, he insisted that he had no idea that the meeting in question was a party. The Prime Minister had let his staff celebrate his birthday with a cake. Whether this is credible could soon become the subject of a parliamentary inquiry. Today, MPs are to vote on whether the committee responsible should examine Johnson's statements on the Partygate affair for their truthfulness. Parliament President or Speaker of the House Lindsay Hoyle approved a corresponding request from the opposition on Tuesday, as he announced. Johnson had initially completely ruled out breaking the rules in the House of Commons and then claimed not to have noticed anything about it. It later emerged that he himself attended several of the meetings in question. His wife Carrie Johnson and Finance Minister Rishi Sunak were also fined. Although prominent Tory MPs are also among Johnson's critics, the Prime Minister was able to stabilize his position again, not least thanks to the Ukraine war. Johnson, whose role model is wartime Prime Minister Winston Churchill, scored points with a visit to Ukraine, during which he walked the streets of Kiev with Ukrainian head of state Volodymyr Zelensky. He also campaigned early on for arms deliveries to the country. Accordingly, Johnson quickly switched to the topic of Ukraine on Tuesday. Labour leader Keir Starmer accused him of using the war as a shield. He described Johnson's statement on the lockdown violations as a joke. The Prime Minister is only trying to distract from his violations. At the beginning of the year, things looked very bad for Johnson after the first reports of the lockdown parties in Downing Street. At the time, a vote of no confidence was considered almost inevitable. It is now considered unlikely. The reason for this was the surprising decision by the London police to investigate the matter. This prevented a full-length internal report by top official Sue Gray from being released and bought Johnson valuable time. The Metropolitan Police are focusing on 12 events that allegedly violated the corona rules in force at the time. In the meantime, around 50 penal orders have been issued in connection with the investigations. Johnson is expected to receive more penalties. According to observers, things could get really tricky for the head of government if his Tories were to suffer heavy losses in the upcoming local elections on May 5th. Among other places, elections are held in London and in the traditional Labour strongholds in northwest England known as the Red Wall, where Johnson made large gains in the last general elections thanks to Brexit. For the British Prime Minister, the affair over banned lockdown parties in Downing Street, it is becoming tricky again. As I said, MPs are due to vote today in the House of Commons on whether Boris Johnson's statements on the matter should be examined by a committee to determine their truthfulness. And Speaker of the House Lindsay Hoyle approved a corresponding request from the opposition on Tuesday, as he announced in the House of Commons. Deliberate deception of Parliament? Seriously, guys, that would be a clear reason for resignation, although with Johnson you never know. But Johnson, who was fined last week for attending an illegal party, only expressed remorse in his statement. And it really is a joke, like Starmer called it. How many times did he apologize? And whenever he gets caught again, he apologizes again. Yeah. And I don't know what he has to do and then apologize that he will survive that and not that he will not survive that in Parliament. I don't know what his party is doing there. Well, he will probably not take part in the debate about his sincerity because he has already planned a trip to India for today. Johnson was under immense pressure earlier this year because of the scandals surrounding the celebrations with, by the way, plenty of alcohol at his official residence during the corona lockdown. You might remember my t-shirt with a work meeting. With the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine, the pressure eased somewhat as the international crisis pushed the Partygate affair out of the headlines. In a nationwide survey, however, around 2/3 of those surveyed made negative comments about Johnson, while only 16% made positive comments. Liar was the most frequently chosen negative term. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.